So my Ridgid Planar hasn't really been working the greatest. So, I don't have anything else going on. So why not take it apart? I got the top and the sides off right now. I am in the process of taking out all the blades right now and replacing those. Obviously this is kind of dirty, so I'm going to clean that up. If this is the first time that you've gone to change these blades, you can reuse them. You just got to flip them around. So as you can see, there's a side on here that's dull and used up, and then there's a side that's nice and crisp and clean. So you can't reuse these blades, just flip them around. Now the easiest way that I've figured out how to replace the blade is put the blade back on the little pegs. You see the pegs and the holes? Line those up first. So let that just sit on there, okay? And then grab your cover plate and the same thing, line up the holes. All right, so now that it's, semi-locked in there, just start hand screwing in your screws. I mean, no wonder these things aren't cutting. I know it's hard to see, but they are like caked on of sawdust and wood chippings, and I mean, look at the back. So we're gonna get this one cleaned up, and then we got one more blade to replace, get that one cleaned up. Hopefully this bad boy will be ready to go. All right, now that we got the blades replaced, I'm gonna take off the other roller. If you do have a Ridgid planar and you've noticed that it's kind of getting tripped up or it's not, rolling properly, then your rolls probably look like mine. Just, over time they get these little divots, but then the divots fill up with just sawdust, crud, whatever, and then it stops the roller from actually being able to grab your wood piece in a flat manner. So we're gonna take those out and we're gonna clean them up. All right, now just be careful, because obviously this is part of the chain mechanism, the gears that actually turn these. And it's also spring loaded, so this little piece right here goes up against the spring, and when that last bolt releases, it really springs it out. So just be careful. I'm just gonna take an abrasive pad, very fine, and just kind of clean it up a little bit. That way it's getting in the fibers of the roller without creating new kind of divots, All right, so we're gonna put the roller back on. Make sure you got your springs. Clean up any debris that's maybe left over in the trap here. Get your springs back in there. This is gonna be the tricky part. I have to push in a little bit so you can get the screw in at least started. You got to kind of decompress the spring. Don't tighten it too much, because you want to make sure that these are getting tightened pretty much at the same time. Now that we got this side on, now we're gonna clean up the chain assembly a little bit here. As you can see, it just gets a bunch of gunk and all that fun stuff in there. So we're gonna give this a little clean and put it back together. Get all that gunk coming off here. Get it nice and clean. We're gonna put these back on our gears. All right, so now we're gonna start with this side roller. You're gonna wanna put the chains back on the assembly before we can start putting the tracks back on. So bottom one goes in the back side, top one goes on the front side. And now the tricky part, getting these back in the track. Now to get the clips back on. Now I noticed that there's some schmutz in the back side of where the blade goes. So basically where the sawdust and everything is being thrown up into. So I'm gonna do my best to clean that out. And on mine, I noticed that the bottom was kind of, you know, full of junk and stuff too. And, you know, I'm gonna keep this chain lubricated. This is what actually brings the unit up and down, so it's definitely important to keep this lubricated too. All right, now that we got the rollers back on, the blades replaced, now we're gonna kind of just clean up the rest of this. You know, get it looking pretty good. Now that we got it all cleaned up, lubricated these 4 silver poles and the black poles, because those are what lift the unit up and down. And same with these. This is the track that the unit actually rides on, so make sure you keep those lubricated. The belts are good, check those. Yeah, now we're gonna get the side panels on and get this thing back together. And that's how you take apart and maintain and replace the blades on a Ridgid Indicut planer. Thanks for watching the video on the Ridgid planer. If you have any other questions, put them in the comments or reach out to me. Let me know. All right, thanks again.